So for the next presentation, we've asked Daniel Michaud to remind us what an efficient sawmill should look like, and it's production. It's not all about the hardware, although we always like the hardware part, right? It depends just as much on good work organization. Daniel Michaud has over 30 years experience of the wood industry, a graduate from Duchesne Technical Forestry School as a lumber grader, a sawyer, a saw filer. He also earned a degree in administration from the University of Quebec. He has held many positions in the lumber industry, from quality control manager, projects manager, general manager, vice president. He has continued his career utilizing his expertise as an industry consultant and has implemented some processing methods like preventative maintenance programs, quality control, daily production management, and philosophies of lean management and Kaizen within prominent companies throughout Canada. Please welcome Daniel.
So thank you very much for the invitation. So sawmill efficiency and optimization. Optimizations, it's a word that can be used for almost anything in our life. And also, the topic of it is managing the details. So I'll let you read that. It's in French and in English in the bottom. You can imagine what happened if you don't stand up and look at what is coming to you. So, optimization and the high tech. Right now in the industry, in the sawmill industry and other industries too, optimization is the key. So there is no more human decision into a sawmill. If you want or if you wish, you can optimize everything. And in Quebec here, we've seen a lot of good manufacturers that been to your place, and they are offering a state-of-the-art machinery, but there's always a price tag to new machinery, as you know. So you got some log scanner, this is a few examples, log scanner, 3D, edger optimizer, you got TBL3, you got lumber grader and trimmer optimizer, and you can have the whole thing. I mean, the complete key project with a turnkey project. It's all optimized. We don't see that too much people in that type of sawmill, like the one that have been in Sweden or in Germany or Austria. Normally, there are not too many people on the floor. If something stops in the mill, then you will see some ants coming from the subfloor, and they're going to fix the things, make sure that everything is all right, and they're going to start the mill again, and they disappear until the next stoppage in the mill. What can we expect from the high tech in terms of recovery? The edger optimizer will give you 2 to 3%. Trimmer optimizer about the same. The optimized curve sawing rotary gang edger, 6 to 10%. It depends to where you were prior to install the optimizer. The optimized positioning of the log at the head rig is 5 to 10%. Conclusion. A full optimized sawmill and a well-maintained mill processing SPF log from 8 to 16 should be at less than 4 net cubic meter of round wood per 1,000 board feet at the sawmill. On the road to success, there is no shortcut. Sometimes we think there is, but most of the time there are not. There is nothing free in life. Everything has a price. So there is a different approach. Over the since the last recession, what Obama called the second crash over a period of 100 years, maybe we have to think differently. Optimization is also getting the maximum out of your existing mill. Even if it's a brand new one. Ways of improving the existing sawmill. Before I go to that, I'll pass you on some because you are in the lumber industry, I pass you 2 pieces of wood. A very simple thing, A and B. So you look at those pieces of wood, you pass on to your neighbor, and try to identify yourself as I'm a sawmill operator. Which type of operator I am, A or a B? Just looking at the piece of wood. And be honest. This is the key of the exercise. So to improve the existing sawmill, there is the recovery factor. That's the major factor because we are working mostly of the time in the commodity market. So commodity means sometimes you're in competition for the logs, but also you're not controlling the price of the log, not that much, and you're not controlling the price of the lumber that you're selling. So what's left to you? It's what you can do with the logs. So the recovery factor is very important, and it's built on sawing accuracy versus target size. Log scanning and sorting. Those are key elements. Tighter sawing pattern, control of log centering device, and modernizing the sawing system. The productivity is the second item. Reducing downtime. I will speak about that later on. Investing in manpower training and coaching. Lumber grading, safety procedures, mill writing, self-filing. Okay, let's talk about sawing accuracy versus target size. Better sawing precision equal reducing lumber target size. Sometimes there is a gain of almost 2% in terms of recovery if you do that the right way. How? Improving saw blade accuracy, reducing oversize, and optimization of the drying process, and fine-tuning the fixed planer head. This is what a target size is built on, and you got the shrinkage, you got the planer allowance, and you got the what is in gray here. It's the over dimension or the over width. Log scanning and sorting. Log sorting using a 3D scanner allowed to sort by sawing pattern instead of by diameter. Very effective as the mill is equipped with a curve sawing system. Sawing in batch mode versus scan and set will improve the recovery factor by 4 to 6%, and also will add some footage to the productivity. Tighter sawing pattern. We saw that during the recession. People were producing a lot of lumber without wane because they were aiming at producing some special grade. We call every company have his own name for that. Very neat piece of lumber that you can find at Rona or Lowe's or any big surface like that. If we use the software SAWSIM to evaluate the potential of each step that you're making, improving in your sawmill. So the recovery factor, let's give you an idea of what we can do with SAWSIM or Optitech if you're working with FV. So, and one of the key of the recovery factor, and sometimes it's at the head rig, which is where the maximum loss can be encountered. It's if you don't have symmetrical face on your log at the head rig, you're running into problem. So let's see just this example here. So we see that this is a perfect log, perfect opening. The faces are equal. And here, this is 79 millimeter compared to 48 on the other face, opposite face. And that gives you a 42% recovery factor. This is the maximum that you can get from that cant, compared to a full 58 that you, if your phrases are equal. So this is a major fact in a recovery factor. Lots of companies did that over the last 20 years. Instead of changing their rotary gang edger, old one for a new one, they tried to get the what we call a retrofit. So we can see there, one here, that's the guides. So, and then we end up with the productivity. Reducing downtime. Well, we made many sawmill assessments, and most of the time, the downtime is coming from mechanical problems. Less and less from electronics, but main reason mostly is in the mills is the downtime is due to the mechanical problem. We saw some mill with 15 to 45% downtime because of any reason, but mostly mechanical. A sawmill in the world-class standard will perform close to 4 to 8% of downtime on a year base, based on 2 shifts. I don't know if the first time you heard about world-class. I worked 6-7 years ago. I worked for Alcoa, and Alcoa got aluminum plant everywhere around the world, and they fixed a standard about being in the world class in terms of smelter and things like that. And they were fixing the target at 95% efficiency, so no more than 5% downtime for any reason on a year base, based on a 24 hours operation, 365 days a year. So world-class standard, and I show you some piece of wood of world-class sawmill in few minutes. Well, how can we achieve that? Everybody knows that now. I hope so. Implementation of a maintenance problem. Well, sometimes we have some owner or mechanical maintenance people, they say, we don't have any problem with our mechanical maintenance. But sometimes we see things like that, or even like that. So it's not sure they are in full control of everything. What to expect from a good preventive maintenance program? Downtime reduction by 5 to 10%. Cost reduction for parts, less overtime by traders, productive improvement by 5 to 15% within a year. Just in terms of less overtime by traders, when I was with Blanchette and Saint-Pamphile, when I joined the company, the traders were having between 10 and 12% of overtime every year, based on the 2 shifts. So they were running 2 shifts for 44-hour shift, 2 shifts a day, for 235 days a year. And they were at 10 to 12. After we implement the preventive maintenance program, we reduced that in 6 months to 2% to 2.5% overtimes for traders. We didn't have any person to do that, just managing and make some planning ahead to make sure that we are not paying overtime for nothing. So this is a lot of money. And I verified that 2 years ago, and they still at 2%. And they still operating 2 shifts a day, and they never stopped during the recession. They are one of the only few that been running normally during those years of recession. I was talking about Blanchette, and Blanchette was the first one in North America to be ISO 9002, followed by Irving the year after. And the first one also east of the Rockies to obtain the jazz certification. So we had at that time a Japanese stamp. The only thing that you can read on that stamp was Blanchette. And we were able to ship wood in containers directly to people there in Japan, direct sales to, without any intermediate. Direct sales to, so this is some example of, because if you go on our website, you will see that we are making Kaizen, and when we implement maintenance program and preventive maintenance, we also make sure that the house is clean. And one way to do that is we use the Kaizen approach, a little bit of lean also, but mostly Kaizen. And this is an example of Kaizen activities. So it was prior to the Kaizen. Again. What's on the floor? That's all the parts that were not useful. Not at all. So they were going to the recycling bin. This is how it looks after we manage a Kaizen activities with a 5S. So I don't want to go too far in that, but if you are interested, go on our website and you will see some small videos of maintenance and what we can achieve with those activities. Investing in manpower training and coaching, this is the key for everything in the sawmill and everywhere in other industries. Lumber grading, safety procedures, continuous improvement activities like Kaizen type, bill writing, saw filing, for sure. These activities are an investment, not an expense. If you think like this, you're on the good side of the problem. If you don't, you're in trouble. There is no shortcut for the success. So I have two pieces of wood. So the piece of wood that you have in your hand or that pass through to the room are the North American standard sawing, rough. And those pieces of wood are dry now because they're still in my office since a long time. But I've been in France 4 years ago, and I was in a glue laminated beam plant in France. Do you know how many glue laminated plant there is in France? Do you have any idea? 57. 4 years ago it was 57. I don't know now. But these pieces of wood were used at the plant where I was, near Poitiers, near Bordeaux. And this piece of wood, this is a piece of scrap. But let me tell you scrap. This is SCA 30. This is a standard for glue laminated beam. It's coming from Sweden. This is our competition. But it's more than our competition. This is an example that this is rough spruce. Dry and rough. And it's used to mainly, the purpose of that grade is to produce glue laminated beam in France. This piece of wood traveled mostly 2,000 kilometers from Sundsvall to Poitiers. But take a look at the finish. Well, it's warped a little bit because it was in my office, and maybe in my office it's 7% moisture content at the end instead of 15. But let's see. Take a look at that. And this is what I call a world-class organization. So if you travel in Sweden or Norway or in Finland, you know exactly what I mean when I'm talking about world-class organization or a world-class sawmill. They are producing a very neat and clean and very precise dimension for lumber, but from a commodity market, they are more oriented on specialties. And they are producing and selling rough, dry lumber, MSR lumber. This piece of wood is a MSR lumber for a defined market, a niche. And they are quite successful at doing that with a very nice piece of wood, but also from plantation. And they don't have the density in their logs that we have here in North America, because they are in 100% plantation move instead of being a virgin wood like us. But they are doing quite a good job, and they are controlling. If you've been in the sawmills in Scandinavia, I've been there many times. I don't know why. I think I have to learn a lot of things from them. Running a mill without people, or almost without people, and making some so nice piece of wood. The target size are so good, and so neat that this is a good example, and it should be an inspiration for us. But 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I was in South Africa. And there is a lot of possibility to optimize our sawmill. For them, because the manpower is so cheap, they have a lot of people on the floor. And they still at the stage where we were when I started the sawmill business 40 years ago. It's human decision everywhere, and lumber handling by hands everywhere. But if you want to optimize a sawmill, old or new, and sometimes the easiest way to improve the existing mill is to optimize, it's to do exactly what we've been through. So to know more about us, take a look at our website. And if you have any question, so I'll take it. You have any comment about the piece of wood from Scandinavia? I would like to see more of that. By the way, the piece number B. Sometimes the people say to us, oh, we don't have any problem with quality control. Our target size are under control. No problem. But you're going in the mill, you're looking at the sawing faces. Hey, you got tear wood, like the one on B. And they say, we're in control. But let me tell you something. If you think you're in control and you identify yourself as being a B operator, B-type operator, you're in trouble. There is a lot to optimize in your mill, and I'm not talking about machinery. I'm talking about procedures, the way of doing things, the way of maintaining the saws and the canter heads. So if you identify your mill, then you see that you're maybe sometimes in the B mode. There is a big potential for you.
Yeah, Sven Gustafsson from Quebec Wood Export Bureau. Yeah, just a small comment when you're talking about Sweden, Scandinavia. Of course, that's close to me as well.
Oh, sure.
So when I go back to Sweden and go into a sawmill, I'm very happy to see a Gilbert planer or a Carbotech handling equipment.
Yes.
So it's both ways. We have things to learn there, and they have things to learn here. So,
and you know something, I say in the past, we were not seeing them, the Scandinavian lumber, into our markets. And our markets, I mean USA. And since many years now, they are dressing, stamping, and shipping some lumber to the East Coast mostly, and we can compare the quality from them to what we are producing. But also, when the first years I was in Scandinavia, you can't even see a planer. Now there is planer. Lots of places are running planer mills. And it's because they are competing on our market, and they are competing in Japan too with us. So it's a good point, Sven. They don't have any experience at that time in planning, but now they have, and they are ferocious. They are a strong competition to our mills. Oh, you got one? Okay. Go ahead, Bill.
So what I'd see as a trend is when you fix some of your maintenance issues and you try to run to world class, I see more and more mills running now through coffee breaks in terms of continuous operations, more like Europeans. Is that a trend?
It's a trend because they want to reduce the cost. It's a good thing if you're not losing some, or if you're not, you should put some downtime in your process, because most of the time the breaks for lunch or the breaks for the regular breaks are a good period to look at the running equipment, because we don't stop during the breaks. We don't stop the equipment, so you can watch for the heat of the bearings, things like that. But if you're running all the time, it's sometimes dangerous to make some verification in the mill. So sometimes if you stop, it's the right way to improve your maintenance. And if you don't do that, you're losing very good time to make maintenance. So I'm sure there is two schools of thinking in that, and I'm the one that I will use the brakes to improve my maintenance.
Okay.
And be very, by the way, Blanchette is running at close to 95-96% efficiency, not more than 4 to 6% downtime in their mill for any reason. So
they take breaks, Daniel?
yeah, they take breaks.
Other questions or comments for Daniel? No? Okay, thanks.
Thank you, bro.
Very good.